is a great Saturday night to build a commander deck. This isn't coffee, it's whiskey. Why? 'Cause I'm going to need it to get through this. So I've put myself through probable hell. And somebody just got into an accident outside my window. Besides the point. Alright, now that they figured out what was going on out there, that was something. Anyway, the card is going to be Atraxa, the Grand Unifier. I will give you a virtual card so you can read it. Watch that. Yeah, editing is magical. So, that's step number one, is figuring out your commander. And as you can read by the card, what I did is I did an ETB deck. That is going to be so fun to configure that I'm going to love figuring out 100 cards to go with this, because there's just so many. And there's very powerful cards involving this person that we can use here. But where to start? That's step number two right there, is figuring out cards that go with it. For me, I go to MTG Goldfish to do that. There you can look up your commander, look up decks that other people have made, and you can look at cards that are commonly used with your commander, so you can get a starting point to get an idea of what you should be looking for when you're going through your collection. Alrighty, we are at the stack. So these are all the cards that I want to or possibly incorporate numbers. Now that we have gone through our entire collection and pulled all of our ETB triggers or whatever trigger that you're looking for to build a deck around, the next thing is to figure out what you don't have. And that is what I did here. I have an entire list of cards that I went to my local game shop and I bought and traded cards for. I will leave that list here of what I bought. My goal was to keep it around 20 bucks. I did trade in some cards for store credit to bring it down to that threshold, because the cards that I bought were supposed to be like 25 bucks, but apparently they were like $36 at the card shop. So I don't know how that happened. I don't know what got bamboozled, but there they are. Those are the cards that I added. Now we will go to our stacks and start figuring out the rest of the deck. Alright, now that we are here at the setup, we will be looking at all the cards that we pulled. Now, the next step is what I did is I separated them from common, uncommon, rare, mythic. I generally do that because you get more value out of mythic cards most of the time, and so on and so forth. However, never discount your uncommons, because in this situation, gray merchant here that enter the battlefield X life, gain them X life with our devotion, is actually pretty strong, especially for its cost and the fact it's an ETB on the common. So you always want to look at everything, don't discount it. And now we're just going to go through and try and catalog things that work well with the cards that we do have selected over here, following our commander, and try and build around everything and try to chain some things together. Okay? So let's start with the mythics. Generally the big bang for the buck here. One thing I will say I do definitely want to add is hunting grounds. As long as 7 or more cards are in your graveyard, hunting grounds has whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Which means if you take a card from your hand and put it on the battlefield, it still enters the battlefield. It still triggers ETB. So yeah, that's pretty strong, especially for a 2-drop. So that definitely has to go on the deck. No questions asked. And then we have Elesh Norn, which will double permanents coming in, triggering abilities, and everything. So that's also extremely huge. This is the new Elesh Norn for all will be one. So look at that. Probably put a better picture up on the screen. So this is a definite going into the deck as it is already. And then we'll just kind of shuffle through these, see what we see, and make decisions from there. And it's the Eternal Wanderer, also from All Will Be One. And cool new art card. So maybe we'll for sure add that one in and give that Silex a little bit more use for right now. So I will definitely put this one off as a maybe, because there might be a better cycle card, because you're only using half the card really because you don't really want to destroy permanents in this situation. You want those back, unless we figure out a way to get some permanents back on the field. We want to keep them, and putting a card in there for only half of its effect is kind of a waste of a space, especially when we're dealing with, you know, this many cards. We could find way more value in another spot. Saga, World Spell. Look at the top 7 cards, put a non-saga card in your hand among them, and you put 2 non-sagas under the battlefield. That's a 7-drop. But if we take into account the fact that we have chances, or 2 chances at no maximum hand size, that'll be worth it. So that will also go over here as a maybe, and we'll come back to it, because it is a 7-drop and that's pretty expensive. And we do have a lot of expensive cards, as it is. How's it going, everybody? I would just like to take a moment in the midst of going through all of these cards and speed up scene to say thank you for watching, and every like and every view helps, so if you could, hit the like button down below, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be posting a lot more content and follow-up videos to see how this deck plays and what modifications we can go from here. So stick around, and hope to see you around. Alright, I have gone through the mythics, a little bit of a quick cut, might have fast-forwarded it. But these are the ones that I'm adding to the maybe pile. We're going to go Portal of Phyrexia, for obvious reasons. Bring things back, blah blah blah, maybe. Angel of Sanctions. Why? Because whenever this enters the battlefield, you may exile a non-land permanent an opponent controls until this leaves. So this might be a little bit of quick flash control, though. For clarification, I didn't mean the card had flash, but I meant flicker in and out of the battlefield for a detain effect. You may be able to series in and out inside the deck, which might become useful, but there might be other cards that grant more. One with the multiverse is the next card. Look at the card anytime, cast on the top of the library. Once each turn, I can play a card without paying its mana cost. That is big, especially that it's an 8-drop. It will eventually pay for itself pretty quickly. Also going in there. Staff of Domination, also maybe. Untapping cards, adding life, draw a card. It's pretty expensive for what it does, but we'll see if it'll come into play. Diplomacy, I'm not 100% sure I like this card too much, because targeting is kind of weird, especially when we're doing ETBs. Most of the ETBs we want a global effect, not a specific creature, so that is a huge maybe. But if we find a way to use it, that could be pretty strong. Put that in that pile. And then we have Cheel, the Whispering one. Swamp Walk, which is cool, but it's at the beginning of the upkeep. We can return a creature card from our graveyard to the battlefield. Also a pretty expensive card, but if we lose ETB cards, or we have to mill them or something, this is a way to bring them back. Pretty expensive, but a little bit of a lifeline. I'll also put that in the big maybe pile. Cards that I've decided not to add will be these guys. Obvious reasons, they just don't have the value that I would hope that they would have. That one's just a creature generator. That destroys everything. We don't want to destroy everything. This one, discard, exile, cards from the top of your library. It's pretty strong, but it's an opponent's library, which doesn't give us our ETB effects. And then gain life equal to the amount of life that you gain. There's not going to be a whole lot of life gain in this, so it's kind of a worthless spot. Now we shall move over to the rares with this giant old stack of cards. So I'm going to take a quick run through these, and I'm going to pull out cards that I think are worth it and give you an idea of what I'm thinking. Okay, this is me from the future with a completed deck, as you can see. Honestly, making this was me rambling on about different cards. Most of them I didn't even put in the fucking deck, so I don't even know why I would include that. You don't want to see that, so we're just going to go over the final product, because I don't think after the mythics most people care. But we'll run through it really quickly. There's a lot of cards in here, obviously, for their ETB triggers, like Flicker Wisp, Elvish Rejuvenator, Edhorn Overlord. Those three pretty much just give me in and outs, land, and 1/1s. I'll put the 1/1s in there along with Guru of Spores, and I will be swapping in Doomhive for what I also put in as Rasputin at the time, but like I want the 1/1s, I want the in and out quicks, purely because Rasputin here, you can probably see the card on your screen, is a tap ability, and it also gives a 1/1 green or 1/1 red goblin creature token to my opponent, and I don't want to do that. I don't feel nice, so they're just not going to get it, and I don't want to deal with the tapping. There's enough triggers as it is. So we're just going to do in and outs. Wall of Omens and Wall of Blossoms, draw cards. We did put Tiller Engine in, like we talked about earlier, for the untap ability. Elvish Norn will also come in handy because we can put in 2 lands per turn with Exploration over here. So Elvish Norn will trigger Elvish Tiller Engine twice because we can play Exploration. So just a bunch of triggers, which is great. And after that, Spirited Companion, draw card as well, along with the walls. We have Ooze. We put the Ooze in there. That was a great card to toss in. One of the cards that I'm currently up in the air is about this gem right here. It's a 4-drop for 2 mana of any one color. Meh. Not too sure if that'll stay in the deck, because I don't feel like it's worth it for a 4-drop right now, but we'll roll with it because I'm a little worried about mana. I am running 34, most of which are tap lands, or dual lands, and there are triple in here as well, for triple mana. We do have both of our Planeswalkers that we added in, which is great. Where do we leave off? Okay, then, yeah, Bladed Shared Souls. I'm pretty sure we went over that. If not, here's a card. It pretty much gives copies, I believe, if I remember correctly. If not, Future Me will correct myself. And Decanter, increased hand size, Reality Chip, is just a smaller one with the multiverse that we went over earlier, except we don't get a free card each turn. Portal Phyrexia we went over, and then Soul Ring Arcane Signet is obviously the choice, because you can't have a commander deck without him. And then Chromatic Lantern, 1 of any color to my pool. And all of my lands have add 1 mana of any color to my mana pool, which is great because we're running a 4-color deck. So having the ability just to tap for any color off of any lands will always be useful. And then we have Quicksilver Amulet to finish off the artifacts, because putting a creature from my hand onto the battlefield at any point is great. It's essentially giving all creatures flash for 4 mana and a tap. Why would you not? It's kind of just like a free blocker from like End Raise Forerunners right here. 8 mana, cuts it in half, and I just drop it on the field, and it still ETBs because it enters the battlefield no matter what. Yep. And then we have Bring to Light. Supreme Verdict is a board clear. Savine's Reclamation is a bring back, and you can embalm it, so double or 2-for. Villainous Wealth. And then what's behind it? Barla's Expertise, Green Sunlight's Twilight, and Aether Helix. Then we have 2 tutors, Worldly and Mystical, to bring in some of these and bring out creatures that we might need. Essence Scatter and Counterspell for no-nos, obviously. And then we have Unsummon to quickly save a creature if we need to. Then Entomb, Grave Courage, and Impulse for just some more utilities and search. Overall, this deck has come together pretty well, and I'm pretty happy with it. Just a few substitutions that we are doing, and that's going to be, I think I'm going to swap a Voyager End for a Unearth, maybe. I might play back and forth with these and see which one I like more, the extra save or, return target creature to the battlefield. Then we did talk about Rasputin to Doomhive. I don't think it said that part, but it creates 3 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Knights with Toxic 1. Don't really care about the Toxic 1. I just like the 3 that I can ramp. put that in there. It's also an ETB and not a tap, and that's pretty much the reason why I picked it. Is because it just enters, and I don't have to worry about tapping it. I can just go in and out really quickly. Then we also have this Emancipation Angel. It will return a permanent you control to my hand. It's an in, but we would have to still get it back out. We have a couple of those already in the deck, so I kind of wanted to put in Hunger Dominus, purely because at the beginning of the combat, toughness and power will double, and you just get big. Why would you not want to get big? Especially when you can get a bunch of little guys out, and then all of a sudden, they're 2/2s, or, you know, End Raise Forerunners comes in and out, and it becomes a, what, 3/3 and then into a 6/6. I think that's how that trigger's gonna stack. Could be wrong there, don't quote me. Choose your me, save me. And then the final one that we're probably gonna swap is, I put Gix in, but I'm probably gonna swap it for a Phyrexian Obliterator, because I want to force their hand to sacrifice if I can. Why not? But yeah, that is currently what I have for the deck. I will leave a full list in the description, so you can check it out. And any recommendations would be greatly appreciated in the comments section. I do already have a list of cards that I would like to add in the future, like Thassa's Deep Dwelling or something like that. That is a card on the bucket list. Play card now. But yeah, overall, I think this is going to be a pretty solid deck. I will be back in the future with updates, changes, and ideas once I give it a little play at my local card shop. And I'll let you guys know from there. So if you liked the video, please think about subscribing, hit the like button, leave a comment, give me ideas for the deck. That will all be greatly appreciated. So in the future, hope to see everyone around.